Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Waxela Sananda, and today I have some friends and returning guests. I'd love to introduce you to Gregory and Gail Hoag. Welcome, Gail and Gregory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So good to see you.
So good to be with you again. So it's over the last, we were just trying to figure this out. If it's been 2 years or so, we met and they were on the Alchemy of Ascension, one of the seasons, and I think it might have been season 4. And I got, they do sacred geometry, metaforms, and some really cool products that you can actually wear. And so I want to share this with everyone. I don't know how well you'll see it. It's around my neck. It's called a Heart Companion pendant. It has all of these beautiful different colored gemstones, and it's two-sided. I'm sorry, I can't do a close-up. It's much prettier close-up. But I've been wearing it pretty religiously for quite some time now. And I like the way it feels. And you know how we have our talismans, this one as well, it's a whole different deal, but that just make us feel complete. And for me, it's been one of those things, and I especially like to wear it when I'm driving, when I'm out in the world. I mean, I like to wear it at home too, but I feel that extra buffer of energetic protection that you can get from something like this, because I know now I'm not going to launch into everything it does, what it's capable of. Sometimes people ask me, I'm like, well, I know it has EMF protection and it has all these great little gemstones and it's pretty, but I don't necessarily know how to tell people what it does. And I do get asked that. So I need to listen closely this time when you tell us, because I need to remember how to talk about it. But for me, the most important thing, I'm such a feeler. I'm such an empath. I feel things. And that is how I discern, is this for me or is this not for me? And with this, I feel good when I wear it. Bottom line, I feel happy. I feel centered and balanced when I wear it. I feel that kind of layer of energetic support that as empaths and channels, I find very important that we have some energetic help in this day and age where there is so much potential interference, Wi-Fi, 5G, EMF stuff going on. Who knows what else being broadcast out there. So to stay, just clear and in my bubble, I like to have things around me that give me that level of energetic support. And I have such a strong relationship too with sacred geometry. I mean, I have Sri yantras in my office, and I always have the sacred geometries around me that also make me feel connected to spirit, connected to the divine, connected to just life itself, which I perceive as energetic patterns and sacred geometries. So that's what you're all about. And I know that the pictures on the pendants are sacred geometries. And I think that'd be a great place to hand it over to you, Gregory and Gail, because that's your specialty. So I'd love to hear, what is it? Why does this make me feel so good? What's the science behind it?
That's great. Thank you. And that's a perfect way to get started with Shella, because, the reason that we created this pendant was for all the reasons that you've just mentioned. We live in a world where it's absolutely very, very difficult to stay connected. We are distracted. We do not have a culture that supports us, mind, body, and spirit, that supports a soul being here at this amazing time in our bodies. And so sacred geometry, and Gregory will show you, it's in everything. I mean, it's the way universe is created. It's how energy shows up in this dimension. And what I love about the pendant, just like you, is that it helps me stay connected. It helps me have that centered place of being soul-centered in my life. And yeah, it's great with things like EMFs and all of that stuff, but it's protection in a different way. It's protection through our empowerment, our strengthening, really being here at the core of our being. A lot of times when people talk about protection, it comes from more of a fear base. And what this is about is it's acknowledging who we are at the higher level and supporting us through all of these different patterns and the beautiful gems and the wonderful antenna systems that we put in this, so that it is making a huge difference in our lives, in everything, in our relationships, in our work, in being more on purpose, in being able to show up more fully as we really are. And so, that's why people love it, and that's why they don't want to take it off. One of our friends that I see her wearing it all the time. We wear them all the time. It's like you get up in the morning and put it on, hold it for a moment, put an intention into it, so that, just like you mentioned, the talisman, it really anchors us in that place that we want to be in the moment. And so one of our friends, Natalie Ledwell, who works with my movies and does great work, she posts a gazillion photos on Facebook, and every single time she is wearing her pendant, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference in what we attract in our lives, how we show up, how we can really be, the best that we can be. So with that, I'm going to let go and introduce you to my partner over 37 years, Gregory.
Oh boy, we've been doing this for so long. And when I first started getting involved with sacred geometry, I was opened up by spirit through Kundalini. And like when you talk about being an empath, I know exactly what that's like. It's taking on so much understanding and feelings from others around us. And I think many of us are very sensitive to that. And one of the things I love about the pendant is it creates a field that allows me to be in my integrity without having to worry about taking on other people's stuff, without even taking on other thought patterns. So it allows for really true original thought, original from within us. When we connect to our soul, when we connect to the largeness of the universe, we can do it without interference. And so I find that my intuition has just been growing and growing because that space is given to me, right? And so I have a few slides that I'm going to share that could perhaps give a little more clarity to what it is that we're doing. And bottom line, the reason that sacred geometry works, and we have about 35 more now in the new pendants, 35 antenna systems inside. And what these antenna systems are made up to reflect are the way the universe is created. And there's so much going on today with, like you said, the EMFs, the toxins, the fears that people are going through that block that connection, that keep us from really feeling our soul connection and our connection to all that is. And what's going on with the sacred geometry and the antennas in this piece that we're wearing is that it is designed around the way the universe is created. So we can start being in a space where we vibrate with the way the moon vibrates, the way the earth vibrates, the way the sun. It's like when you go into nature and you're under some trees and you find a brook and you put your feet in the brook and you just relax. It's like all the energy moving in that stream, the air moving through the leaves of the trees, the smells, just the way nature is, it gets us into that vibration, into that state of connection, of what's natural. And so this is what's happening with the pendant. So even when we're in the middle of a city with a lot of concrete and a lot of cars and a lot of exhaust and a lot of people moving very frenetically around us, we can feel the connection of what's real. And that's why it feels so good. It's like we take nature with us wherever we go. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Okay.
this is what I wanted to start out with is just the fact that science tells us that 99.99999% of everything is pure energy. So what that means is that the stuff that we bump into, the stuff that we're looking at right now, and us talking back and forth, that's only 0.000001%. I mean, that's physical matter that we can see and touch. Everything else is pure energy. So obviously, just like in Einstein's equation, it's almost all energy. And that energy, it follows patterns, templates, and that's the energy that precedes matter that we exist in. So what we're seeing in this reality, these patterns, that's the sacred geometry that we're talking about. The way everything comes together. And it's a universal language. And that means that it's consistent, whether we're here anywhere on the planet, anyone that's knowledgeable and open can understand it. And even if we go to the other side of the universe and we communicate with some species of intelligence that has no understanding of English, we could talk through sacred geometry because it stays consistent everywhere in this reality. So the spirals that we see in nature, the way these patterns are formed are around certain numbers and certain designs, and they always repeat. And so we are bringing those into what we do, and they exist from the level of the atoms and molecules, and even the DNA within our body follows these same particular patterns, all the way up to the planets and the sun and the galaxy itself, and all the galaxies line up following these patterns of creation. Now, this is a picture of us, believe it or not, and it's actually a metaphor. It isn't us, but it is showing that only a tiny bit of an iceberg is seen, and that's the part above the water. And for us, only the little bit, like I talked about, that 0.0000, that little bit is what we see on the physical reality. So much of us is unseen. That's our emotional body, our mental body, all the way up to soul. We are invisible to everyone else, even ourselves in this world. So if we really look at that reality, and I flipped it over just to make it easier to understand that that other part came first. We are the creation of the soul, of the higher part of ourself, of all these subtle bodies. That's the part we have yet to discover, and yet that's the part that is supporting and creating our reality. And we could break this into dimensions is another way of understanding it. So soul, source at the top, with all these different dimensions all the way down into the physical reality that we exist in. And this is another metaphor of like soul on the surface pumping us oxygen. And what that really means is that we can't exist. We don't exist without soul. Soul is giving us all of the energy. And so when we run into blockages in this reality, if we run into things like electromagnetic pollution, it puts a kink in that lifeline. It makes it more difficult for soul to get through. And when we have stress in our lives, that puts a kink in our lifeline because we are disconnecting. We are putting all that energy into our bodies that is keeping the flow from happening. And so it is with our emotions. All the negative emotions, they really spring from fear. And when we are going through sadness, grief, anger, all these different negative emotions, it blocks higher self. It blocks intuition. It blocks soul. It blocks us from creating what we want to create. And so do the judgments that create separation. And of course, what we've talked about is toxins. So all of these different elements take us away from really who we truly, truly are. And that's why you feel good when you're wearing the pendant. You just feel like who you are. You feel that connection. You feel everything in nature around you. And this is a picture of the legacy pendants on the left, the ones that we've all been working with for so long that you have. And then the new ones are the ones on the right. So they have some new geometries on them. And I can show you what those geometries look like that we've put onto the pendant. This is one of them. And what this is a carbon C60 atom. And by finding the 3 different perspectives that I can project this into a flat surface, that's how we put it on the pendant. And people wearing it are able to pick up on the 3-dimensional energy of this. And this is the highest form of carbon. And we're all made out of carbon. Everything living is on this planet working with carbon. We're all carbon-based life forms. And so this is on the pendant. And on the surface of the pendant is this geometry right here that I've got turning. And this incredible geometry we call the divine integrator, because it really works with higher dimensional aspects of spirit and brings it into physical manifestation. So you feel that when you have the star face toward your body, like sometimes that's nice when you're driving, like it gives you more focus, or when you're writing a paper, or right now when I'm speaking and with you, working with that star side with this design on it toward me. So these are some of the new geometries that are on the pendant on the right. And so that's what we're referring to when we work with physical geometries that we put onto the face of the pendants. And then that list underneath are some of the antenna systems we have inside that are working with fiber optic material and oscillating crystals and photon generators and circuit boards. I mean, so much over all these years has been brought to us and put inside the heart companions. And Gail wanted me to put this in. This shows the older pendant. The new pendant has even more things inside of it. But
It has all of those of what you see, plus a few more things that we found which is really valuable for where we are now. But you know, what you're seeing is that it's not just what's on the surface of the pendant, it's what's inside. And the interior of it is what enables us to be able to then put it into our sacred geometry chambers that are here on our land in Lyons, Colorado. We have all kinds of amazing vortexes and really extraordinary land. And we're connecting into other places on the grid of the planet and even on a solar level, so that these geometries of, you know, what's inside with these antenna systems holds the energy and connects to continue to update those frequencies, those vibrations, so that you're getting bathed with that. You can interact with that. Now, it's not about overwhelming you, it's about giving you the doorway so that you have the opportunity to consciously create your life with the support of greater connection. So are you going to show, you're going to show the chambers too, right?
I will. Right there, that little line shows that this is a mix of crystals. Some of the new pieces we put in have been whole pieces for the energy, like we put an actual pearl in the new one, and a kunzite sphere and things like that. But we also, this is the oscillating crystal I talked about, that's vibrating a certain frequency, and we get energy to move through that crystal with the geometries. Oh, these are some of the different minerals and things that we put inside that mix. And it makes a difference when we charge these in our chamber. And that's what I'm going to share with you now. On our property, we have large forms, we have chamber with moving forms inside. The white tube is wrapped with wires that we put frequencies through. So that's where the pendants go inside there. There's another chamber that runs while the first one is running, excuse me, and that has all those different forms lined up that are all spinning at the same time. And that chamber is on every 72 hours. It goes on for 24 hours, and then it's off, and then it's on. So we're setting up a resonance with the earth itself, just on and off every 72 hours. And that's the way it's been for years. And we've totally redone these chambers since we redid the new pendant. So we've added more forms, done more things with it.
And all the original pendants have been put through that chamber, the new chamber, and are working with those same energies. So that is important to know. Whatever you choose, that you're really getting that full connection with what you just saw with the chambers.
And this is a picture that a scientist did a whole series of tests for us with people, and this is showing that this person in the red is where things are shutting down. So a lot of different aspects of that person's body are starting to shut down, not work properly. And yet, after just holding the eye connect or the pendant for just a few minutes, actually 5 minutes, what she found is that everything goes into the normal zone, the balanced green zone. And that she also, this is Dr. Lisa Tully, she also worked with people where she measured the field around them and found that there were breaks, holes where the energy wasn't flowing. And within 5 minutes, those areas not only filled in, but as you can see in some of the areas that were particularly weak, they're even stronger once you're holding on to the pendant, because it's bringing energy into that part of your body. So this is kind of in a nutshell what's going on with the pendant. It's working with these geometries that are found in nature, and certain numbers of coils and certain types of metals. We like to work with titanium and gold and silver and copper, because it gets us into that state of who we truly are. And so that's what you're wearing when you're wearing it around your neck. And that's why so many people say, I don't understand what's happening, but it feels good. And I don't want, and if I start to work without it, I turn my car around and I go back and get it. And because I just don't want to be without that sense of connecting to all, because ultimately that's why we're here, to be of service to all and to be part of this bigger picture and recognize the beauty of who we are as a human being that is more than just this body, but the fullness of connection to everything.
Mhm.
It's interesting talking about connection. I've been reading this book that is really fascinating, that I think a lot of people are aware of the fact that more and more people are depressed. And there's all these studies and this data that's showing us that, particularly in the last few years, when we went through, so many of us having to, kind of like cut off those physical relationships and do things that were virtual. More people on their computers and their phones and Zoom and all of those things, which was a godsend in a lot of ways, because we needed to have some level of connection. And we thought years ago that technology was going to offer us some of those human connections that we needed. And what we're finding is that in many situations, we've cut off the essential connections that are so intrinsic to who we are as human beings. And as a result, there's greater amounts of people who are depressed, who are unhappy, who are finding that they don't feel their life is purposeful. And so, so many really sad spin-offs because of that. People who are ending their lives, young people who are suicidal, because they don't see how they can connect. And what our work is about is helping people find those connections, understand not only the connection to each other that is so essential, are being able to fully, genuinely be here, not in any place of having to pretend to be something for someone else, instead genuinely being present. But that is so significant. And the more that we work with these kinds of understandings and technology, we can raise our consciousness to that place of getting back to how the human experience is really about connection. And with all the challenges that we have out there, we have the ability, and we have each other, and we have tools to be able to more authentically and purposefully connect. So, that's what our work's been about all these years, is doing that research and developing tools so that people have something that can make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, you're the alchemists. You've taken all of that and created something that the talisman that we can wear and have that energetic support, which I just love that creative people can do things like that. So I appreciate what you brought through. And, I know for anybody that's watching or listening, you do have a special code that you made and a special offer for us. Hopefully I'm not rushing you into that. Do you know what that is? I'll have it in the notes for sure. So if you don't have it with you, then I'll just...
There it is.
Well, there's
Perfect.
the URL. It's iconnectthenumber2all.com/Waxela.
Wonderful.
And that'll take you to a page where you'll see the pendants. And what you're going to see on that page is mostly the original pendants that we talked about, the legacy pendants. However, there is a link on that page because we also talk about our transition to the new Heart and Soul companions that we've just really begun production on them. And there's a link in there, a little green box. You can click on that and then you can go over to the other page and you can learn more about that. So you have a choice and they're both awesome. We have thousands and thousands of people that are using the original pendants and we're just getting the new ones out there and people are loving them too. So take a look. And there's all different varieties. Something that we do is all of the pendants are double-sided. They have what we call our star face and the earth face. So what confuses people sometimes is they say, oh, well, I want this face. Well, guess what? You get both. And you can turn it over. And when you do that, the side that's towards your body is giving you more of that energy. So you'll notice, especially with the new ones, that making that change between those faces is really, you'll really feel it. But inside, they're the same. But outside, we give you the options for different displays of gems. So we have something that we call the highlight pendant that has some of the most high vibrational gems. There's 14 of those gems. And we even offer the option to put a diamond in the center on one of the sides. We've got the rainbow pendant, which also has 14 gems, some similar to what's in the highlight, but not all of those very high vibrational gems. We have the chakra pendant that has 7 gems, 4 on one side, 3 on the other. And that one covers the colors and gems that are associated with the chakras. So that's a wonderful one. And then we have a few other variations, like the basics of it. There's different price levels, there's different arrays of gems. So you can tune in and see what is really right for you. And they come in a gold tone, which is a titanium coating on stainless steel, or the silver, which is the stainless steel that we use. So lots of choices, and take a look. And we're always here to answer questions too.
Thank you. Yeah, I will be sure and include that link in the show notes. And so everybody can easily get there. But I appreciate you taking time out to share with us and give an update. I know it's been, I think last we did this was maybe last December or somewhere around there, maybe November. But you've added some new things in and changed some things. So I love the updates and I love connecting with both of you. And I just really appreciate what you're doing and the energetic support that you're offering all of us. And all that you do. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. And we love what you do, Waxela, and all the people out there. We're here together to really support the evolution of this amazing time and space and this planet and human evolvement.
And we have so much going on in the world right now, but for each of us, it's really an individual choice of what we're doing with our bodies and our intellect and our heart and our soul. I mean, what do we choose? What do we focus on? And to really make a difference in the world, we need to be connected and complete within ourselves and feel that love that we are. And then we'll have something that can go out to others. And so more and more people, I think, are really wanting to come from that place of connection, of love, to make a difference in the world. Because, we're here, things look messy on the outside, but it's our choice of how we are working with all of it, and we can keep it unmessy and clean and connected on the inside. I mean, what better place to test it out than in a world like this right now? So it's a wonderful opportunity, isn't it?
It is. Yes. I mean, these are the times that we came for. And I love that you said it is messy, but it's also, like those challenges give us the opportunity to really overcome and shine in the world. And that does take getting past the chaos that can be out there and being able to tune in. And of course, we can do this independently. Anybody can. And I'm someone who I do love to have my tools around me because it helps me ground and center. And everybody has their way of doing that. And I just appreciate the people that make that easier for us. Yeah.
Oh, and it's wonderful to find each other
It
and
is.
realize that there is a growing group of souls on this planet that really want to see change and want to be part of the difference of having that change come about.
Yes, indeed. And I feel like that is all of the people that follow probably both of our followings, because we are and they are the change makers and the people that are here for the ascension, for the new earth, and for assisting humanity to step into this new version of ourselves. It's exciting and it can be a lot of fun. As long as we can stay balanced in the chaos and keep moving forward.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. For everyone watching, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.
Blessings and love.
Blessings and love.